Hello, everyone. This is Kendra Dix here for the Pro Wrestling Show presents the NXT Worlds Collide Premium Live Event Predict the Outcome Special. Yes, as you see right here, NXT Worlds Collide is coming your way right now, but we give you the match previews and my predictions on who's leaving NXT Worlds Collide with some championships and some grudge matches. As you see the card right here, these are some of the championship matches. NXT versus NXT UK. We told you earlier about the NXT UK brand being dissolved and being NXT Europe. Well, NXT UK will showcase their stars as well as the stars of NXT. As you see, some of these matches will be unification matches as well in the men's, women's, and tag team divisions, as well as people from the main roster, including Nikki Ash and Doudrop, as well as Carmelo Hayes getting an unlikely challenge from Ricochet. We'll talk about the NXT Worlds Collide and the Worlds Collide special for the Predict the Outcome. It starts right now. Hello, everyone. Like I said again, this is Kendra Dix here for your NXT Worlds Collide Predict the Outcome special here on the Pro Wrestling Show, here on Connect TV. Thank you all in our other social media platforms such as Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. The Facebook audience are gaining more and growing, as well as the YouTube audience as well. And we thank you for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show special. This is one of our three specials that you'll see throughout the whole weekend. You might have watched the Predict the Outcome for WWE Clash at the Castle. You can watch that in our archives, as well as we're having two pro wrestling shows for today on Sunday for NXT Worlds Collide and for All Out AEW's presentation. We got a lot to get to, but first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling Show here on the Connect TV social media accounts. And hey, don't forget, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on the Pro Wrestling Show. We appreciate you. Wrestling matters, and that's what it is. WWE sent out a banner about wrestling. We'll get to that later on in the hot topics for right quick. But NXT Worlds Collide, as you see right here, the two world champions from their respective NXT brand, Braun Breaker, who has been NXT champion ever since winning the title last year, and Tyler Bate, who just came out as the NXT champion. But Tyler Bate has a strong British strong style physique match that we'll be talking about. Even Braun Breaker showing his power. He's like a powerhouse himself. But we'll get to that in a minute. We got a lengthy of a card right here. This is the NXT ring report, but the Predict the Outcome special for Worlds Collide. And we're going to collide the worlds together right now. And we're going to start off with a banger. The man Ricochet. Ricochet made a rare appearance on NXT. Ricochet, who's coming out of a strong win over Baron Corbin at SmackDown this past week. Ricochet made appearance. Making it seem like that. Ricochet did answered the challenge. Carmelo Hayes, he wanted to know why he wasn't on the NXT Worlds Collide card. Carmelo Hayes saying that he is the A champion, he is the North American champion of NXT, and I would have made the assumption that Carmelo Hayes would have win against the Heritage Cup champion, which that's sort of like a secondary title holder. But Carmelo Hayes proving himself with his wrestling ability and aerial attack Carmelo Hayes moves like a cruiserweight. He was the last cruiserweight champion to unify the North American Championship. Carmelo Hayes and Ricochet battle, and Ricochet came out there, and Ricochet laid waste to Carmelo Hayes and his buddy. He laid waste to his buddy Trick Williams, and he laid waste to Carmelo Hayes. Ricochet sending a message. We can find that message what Ricochet did. Ricochet sending everyone out to dry. So you have to wonder who's gonna leave out NXT as the North American champion. And this is the match right here. This Carmelo Hayes versus Ricochet. That should be the stellar match. I believe that's gonna be the first match on the card. Look for Carmelo Hayes and Ricochet to steal the show. Like they say, when you the first match on the card, your plans are to steal the show. That's what you want to do. You want to steal the show as much as possible. And Ricochet wants to be North American champion. I think Ricochet just there to lend his helping hand and support to Carmelo Hayes. And Ricochet telling Carmelo Hayes he talks too much, and Carmelo Hayes does talk too much, but Carmelo Hayes can back it up in the ring. Ricochet trying to teach Carmelo Hayes a lesson. Carmelo Hayes does know how to talk and walk that walk, and he has been a proven commodity as NXT North American champion. I could one day see Carmelo Hayes being the NXT champion one day. Ricochet just gonna make a rare appearance, and he'll go back to where he came from on SmackDown. Look for Carmelo Hayes to emerge victorious over Ricochet and retain his North American Championship as he once had, or as he does have. And look for that match right there. Carmelo Hayes will win, and that will be the first match of the night. I guarantee it. You can tell. Also, too, tag team action. As you see these four tag teams, some have held the NXT Championship Tag Team title as the current champions. The Diamond Mine, the Creed brothers, they'll be unifying their titles with Brooks and Jensen, who are the North America, the NXT Tag Team, UK Tag Team champions, against Gallus, and Pretty Deadly. So it's a lot of tag teams. It's four tag teams that are gunning for tag team gold. These four teams want to prove, and you can tell Pretty Deadly knows a thing too about holding the UK tag team title, as well as Gallus. But the Creed brothers have also showed strong shooting as well. So there's a lot of tag teams that want to leave out with gold. Gallus looks like could be the heavy favorite to regain the tag team titles. So it's a lot going on in this situation. So I mean, I can see the possibilities. So I believe Gallus will win the tag team titles, and they will be unified tag team champions. Um, the Creed brothers will probably challenge them and go from there. I think that's likely that's going to that feud right now. The Creeds will lose, and the Creeds will chase the titles from Gallus, and Gallus will be the undisputed unified tag team champions, and that'll be the last NXT UK tag team champions. I can see that picture. Also, too, tag team action. Speaking of tag team action, the women's tag team side, the women's side, as you can see, Kaden Carter and Katita Chant defend their tag team titles against Raw's Dewdrop and Nikki ASS, where they made a rare appearance on NXT and laid out the gauntlet. We thought they was going to break up, but it wasn't the case. They're not breaking up. It's just they want to win the women's tag team titles, and they can do so. I guess they came out there to show them respect, but I don't trust Nikki ASS and Dewdrop one bit somehow. So look for Katita Chance and Kaden Carter to retain their women's tag team titles, and it's really no unification, just showcasing of their belts and stuff from Raw. So look for that coming up your way. So look for that. Speaking of women action, we can tell you this: These three ladies right here, we thought it was gonna be a unification match between Mandy Rose and Mako Saramone to unify the NXT Women's Championships, but there's a catch. Bree Priestley got added to the mix. Bree Priestley saying that she said that she's gonna be a future women's champion. Bree Priestley has showed her work in NXT UK since that division, that brand finna die. Um, we're gonna see it. We saw earlier last week it was a contract signing with the men's and stuff, but now Mango Saramona and Mandy Rose have added her to the match, and now it's gonna be a unification match between these three ladies. Um, what Bree Priestley has a lot to lose when you think about it. She's not no champion, but she has the advantage to take both belts from both women that work so hard. And I mean work so hard to get there in this interpromotional match. And it was a lot of interpromotional affair. As you can tell right here, Mandy Rose being confronted by a former NXT Women's Champion, the dominant NXT Women's Champion of of the last decade. When you ask me, Mandy Rose getting advice from Shayna Baszler, who ahead of her match of Clash of the Castle, whether she won or not, I believe she didn't win, but you can tell Shayna giving Mandy advice like, if you don't not win and unify your belt with her belt and bring it home to NXT, all that talk you've been talking about of you winning the championship, of you saying what you say about yourself, is just complete trash. So you need to win it for yourself and win it for NXT. And Mandy Rose took that lesson heed to their advice. But Bree Priestley got advice from another women's champion who won the NXT Women's Champion, the first NXT UK Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley has been a women's champion NXT in UK and Raw, so she knows the thing about holding the women's gold. She told Rhea Priestley that she has the confidence, go out there and take it. Um, that's the thing is going to be Rhea Priestley taking advice from Rhea Ripley on what she need to do and how she need to do it. Also, Mako Saramore getting advice from another UK Women's Champion, Albert Fry. Mako took the title from Albert Fry, and Albert Fry was reminding her that you took the title from me. Now you need to go out there and show you can take the NXT Women's title and unify for the NXT UK division. So it's a lot at stake in this match. These three women want to prove that they are the ones to unify that championship, those championships. And then, like I said, on the line is up for grabs. The NXT women's and the NXT UK women's titles are up for grab in that unification match. But Bree Priestley is that wild card. Can she be the difference maker and take both titles home? It's kind of tough, and it's tough to see it and tough to hear from it. Mandy Rose have been on a roll and has been on a journey, but her career is a little bit stagnant at the least. But Bree Priestley said that she's going to be a former NXT, a one day winning the NXT Women's Championship, and I believe Bree Priestley will take home both women's championships. She'll be the NXT Women's Champion, what she said she was going to do, and she'll retire as the last NXT UK Women's Champion. So we can see that heading forward for that in that match. So it's a lot at stake. But these women, Albert Fry, giving Mako Saramona advice on what she need to do. Shayna Baszler in a championship match giving advice. Even Rhea Ripley, who's been playing around with Dominic, giving B Priestley advice. But it boils down to who's going to leave home as the NXT Women's Champion. And like I said, Bree Priestley will get the job done. Bree Priestley is the future of NXT and its division, and she will leave home with both women's titles. As Mandy and Mako will be leaving with nothing. I can tell you that for a fact. We'll see that. So look for that. Also, The main event. The main event is this. The main event. Braun Breaker, who has been a powerhouse of an NXT champion, one of the last champions of the last 10 years, if you ask me. He he takes on Tyler Bate in a unification match. Tyler Bate and Braun Breaker set to unify both NXT championships. The NXT championship match is that important. We saw that when Braun Breaker defeated um forgot that crazy boy JD Madonna, defeated him. Here comes Tyler Bate with the NXT championship, and then it wasn't um aired then. Now we know that Braun Breaker and Tyler Bate are going to unify the belts, and they're going to unify the belts indeed. Like I said, we saw it throughout the contract signing and stuff, how the contract signing it rose, and now these two men embodied into a match for the NXT and the NXT UK Championship. Make no mistake about it. Like I said, Tyler Bate getting advice from former NXT UK champions such as Pete Dunne / Butch, telling them go home and bring it the title to NXT, win it for yourself. Tyler Bate knows the thing too. He went against Pete Dunne in the UK finals when they first had the UK match. So we'll see. We saw that. Plus, two, Gunter giving Tyler Bate advice as well. Gunter, the Intercontinental Champion, Walter, you want to call it, giving him advice like go and do it for yourself and do it for yourself and do it for the brand. That's what it's all about. Do it for the brand. And I think Tyler Bate is taking it. He ain't gonna back down whatsoever. But also too, a couple familiar faces from Raw, giving Braun Breaker advice. Braun Breaker taking heed the advice from Finn Balor, who's been a consummate champion when he was in NXT. He was running NXT. Like he said, he ran NXT and he wants Braun to do the same. And Braun taking heed of it and listening. But Braun Breaker listened to the most important advice. He listened to Tommaso Ciampa. These two men battled for the NXT championship not too long ago, by sometime earlier this year, and now it comes full circle. And Tommaso Ciampa telling Braun Breaker, go out there and do it for Goldie. Do it for me. Do it for the brand. Do it and do it well. Do it, do it, do it. So this match come to a head. Ain't no question about it. And I'm not trying to knock Tyler Bate or nothing out from his career. He has a career that's gonna see far on. Both men, Braun and Tyler Bate. But when it comes down to it, Braun Breaker will win and become still the NXT champion and become the new NXT UK champion by unifying the belts, become the last NXT UK champion. And Braun will do that. Braun has showed what he can do and how he can do it. So Braun Breaker is your winner, and Braun Breaker will unify both NXT and the NXT UK titles, and Braun Breaker will do so. And Tyler Bate, he'll be around. It's just Braun has the power and the experience that Tyler Bate doesn't, the football background. So Braun Breaker will retain the NXT championship, and he will add the NXT UK title as him being the last champion to retire. So, like I said, we'll see that, how that all going to come down to it. All right. That ends the predict the outcome for NXT, for predict the outcome for the NXT UK and Worlds Collide. Like I said, NXT UK Worlds Collide, where NXT and NXT UK, when both brands battle for brand supremacy in one match, and we'll get to see that match with Braun Breaker and Tyler Bate and stuff. So we'll get to see that. All right, we move forward quickly to one thing on wrestling hot topics. On wrestling hot topics, You wouldn't believe this. Twitter is going a buzz after WWE had posted this. WWE posted this that they are wrestling. They won. Twitter has been buzzing about what the one word that stands out above it, and WWE posted wrestling. Like WWE sent a message that they're not going to be like the previous management, like Mr. McMahon era. They were sports entertainment. Now they're on the new era, new banner Triple H era, where they're just wrestling. Triple H making it clear and stuff that we're getting to see that, not something that's hokey doke and stuff like that that's been used for quite some time. But things like that happen. But that's how it be. So that's the only thing we can show you. We're showing you right now. But like I said, just enjoy NXT UK. All these matches, like I said, 8 championships, 5 matches. The card is stacked. It's going to be a stacked card. This is the match I'm looking forward to. Carmelo Hayes versus Ricochet. Battle of the High Flyers. We'll get to see that. But the match also to Braun Breaker versus Tyler Bate. That's going to be the main event. All right. Thank you all for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show presents Predict the Outcome special. Thank you for watching. I've been your host, Kendrick Dick, says so long, and we'll see you for NXT Predict the Outcome where worlds collide. See you then.